Hello Class 8 students. Today we are going to start with Civics. I have already shared one video in which there was a PPT and it explained the very formation of the United Nations organization. So I have already provided you with notes and question answers. So you are supposed to learn all those things. So to again have a brief and more long-lasting impression on your memory regarding this topic, let us see a video regarding this.
Only have one planet. It's organized into almost 200 countries, which are home to 7.5 billion people, living and working and playing and eating and sleeping and arguing too. Humans argue a lot.
Isn't there anything we could do to try and help work things out?
Actually, there's this thing called the United Nations. It was created way back in 1945 after the world had been through two really terrible wars. The United Nations, also known as the UN, was created to try to prevent wars from happening and to help countries get along.
How do they do that?
By trying to make sure everyone has what they need to live a good life. Food, shelter, medicine, a clean environment, dignity, and safety.
So the UN is kind of like a club.
Kind of, but a really huge club. It's an organization and almost every country is a member, 193 in total.
Is there a secret handshake?
No, but countries do have to pay to join.
Huh. So how does the UN actually work?
Well, all decisions are made by vote, including who the leader of the UN will be. That person is called the Secretary General. The Secretary General works with all the other UN members to identify problems and work towards peaceful solutions. Their job is to speak for all the people of the world, ensuring they come first no matter what decision is being made, and to always act for peace.
Hooray! And what about kids? Does the UN have anything to do with us?
Yes, in a big way. The United Nations created a document called the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. It outlines things all children should have or be able to do.
What things are those?
Like every kid has the right to be safe, to learn, and to play.
Wow, the UN's pretty cool and important.
You can think of the UN like the world's referee, here to make sure problems and arguments are dealt with properly and peacefully. And while the UN still has a long way to go towards fairly achieving its goals, members of the UN will continue to try and work together.
With or without the secret handshake.
So you have a brief idea about the UN. So we have members, as it's already been shown in the video, that 193 countries are there. There are a number of 6 official languages are there. Then objective, we are aware of maintaining peace between the countries, friendly relations. There are certain principles on which basis they are leading the entire UN. So there are so many things which you have to learn point wise. And now special organs. It has been already stated that there are number of organs. Now there are 6 organs you can see here, but this trusteeship council is no more in existence, as because their work was to help those nations who have newly got independence, or they are the newly emerging countries. So right now the trusteeship council is not in existence, but the 5 organs are there. But whenever we are asking you a question that how many organs are there, but you are going to specify 6 organs only. Now there is another video which will tell you about the General Assembly. So in book you can read what is General Assembly and all about it, but to make it more interesting, let me share another video to you.
The United Nations is typically seen as a pillar of international cooperation and dialogue, but getting almost 200 nations to work toward any common goal is an impressive feat. So how does the United Nations actually work? The UN is a product of World War II. On April 25, 1945, 50 nations led by the US, Britain, and the Soviet Union met in San Francisco to come up with the UN Charter to create an international coalition to, quote, save succeeding generations from the scourge of wars. The UN body is made up of 6 main organs: the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Economic and Social Council, the Trusteeship Council, the International Court of Justice, and Secretariat. You're probably most familiar with the first 2. The first is the main policymaking group, and it's the only organ to have representation from all members of the UN. The Security Council only has 15 members and is charged with protecting international security and peace. In theory, the UN is supposed to give countries a global forum to peacefully tackle massive humanitarian and geopolitical issues. In practice, the organization has been plagued with criticisms about its moral code, its inclusion of oppressive dictatorships, and the privileged status of certain countries like the US, Russia, and the UK.
So this was a brief introduction regarding General Assembly.